Hello, my name's Cherrie. I'm an artist and a librarian here in Sweetwater County, and I am here today to show you neurographic art. Neurographic art can be very calming and very meditative. The process of neurographic art is a way to connect people with their inner feelings and thoughts and to express those feelings and thoughts through drawing. So let's get started. Here's an example of neurographic art. The supplies you'll need to do this neurographic art project are a piece of paper, a black Sharpie pen, something to color with. Today we're going to be using watercolor paints. So because we're using watercolor paints, we also need some water and a paintbrush. I have a piece of scratch paper and some masking tape to tape down our paper. And then I also have a pencil for writing. The supplies we're using today are a piece of watercolor paper, a black Sharpie, I have a paintbrush, something to color with. Today we're using watercolor paint, so I also have some water, some masking tape, and I have a piece of scrap paper just in case. So the first thing is to think of a problem or an issue you are facing, a decision you need to make, something you need to work through, or something that you are having strong feelings about. So write a few words about it on the back of your paper, and this is what you're going to think about and concentrate on while you're creating your work of art. So I've written down my thought on my paper. Now we're going to turn our paper over and we're going to tape it down because we're using watercolor. So the tape is going to create a nice border along the edges of your drawing, and it's also going to help your paper to flatten out when it's drying. So we're just going to tape all four edges down. All four edges are taped down. Now you can make your paper go any way you want it to go. It could go horizontally, it could go vertically. That's up to you. The next thing we're going to do is use our black marker, and we're going to bring our thoughts out onto the paper. Take a minute, think deeply about what you wrote on the back of your paper. Think deeply about what you wrote on the back of your paper, and using your black marker, draw a line energetically for 3 long seconds. Just let your pen move freely. Don't try to draw something. Just do a freehand scribble and let it be a line. However you're feeling, however you want to do. If you think you're doing it wrong, you're not. The next step is we're going to create some flow. So we're going to continue to think about what we wrote on the back of our paper, and we're going to round out every place where lines have crossed. So every single place where a line has crossed, we're going to round that out. And we're going to do that by curving, kind of creating each V into a U. So let me show you on the scratch paper. Here's a place where the lines have crossed. We're going to round out each one of these and color them in. So by doing this, we're creating some flow, and it's much calmer and not as harsh. So now we're going to do this on our paper. Everywhere that there has been two lines that have crossed, we are going to round out those corners. It may seem like there's a lot, and there may be a lot, but we want to get every single one of them. We're thinking about what we wrote on the back of our paper. We're just relaxing, letting it happen. To round out the corners, we're going to turn each V into a U, basically. So here we have some intersecting lines, and we're just going to round out those edges, those corners. We're just going to round out those corners. So here we have some intersecting lines, and we're just going to round out these edges. Everywhere that they come together, we're just going to smooth them out. Okay, I have finished rounding out all the corners on my paper. You can see that everywhere it intersects, they're all nice and rounded now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw some wiggly lines that start on one edge of the paper and they end on the other edge of the paper. Don't think about what you're doing. You can make as many or as few as you want. The lines can start on any edge of the paper and they can end on any edge of the paper. I'm still thinking about what I wrote on the back of my page. I'm going to start on one edge and I'm going to go to another edge. And it doesn't matter which edges, it doesn't matter how many you make. Now we're going to go back through and we're going to round all the corners of the new intersections that we just made. I have all my corners rounded out. I'm still thinking about what I wrote on the back of my paper. So next you get to make a conscious decision to make changes. Remember that you are in control of your feelings, your life decisions, and you get to be in control of the lines on your paper. So you can add any lines, shapes, or images that you're inspired to make. I'm going to add a circle and another circle. Now we need to round out any intersections that these new lines made. Alright, I have all my corners rounded, and now it's time to add color. So we're going to color in each white space. Don't think too much about the color, just use whichever colors you are drawn to. I'm going to get my paint wet. You can use as many or as few colors as you like. I suggest using at least 3 colors. And And I'm just gonna start filling it in, and I'm not really thinking about it. I'm still thinking about what I wrote on the back of my paper. Continue coloring in all of your white spaces until they're all colored in. I have finished coloring in all my spots, and now I'm going to let it dry completely and then carefully remove the masking tape. Now that our neurographic art is complete, it's time to reflect. How do you feel about your finished piece? Are you feeling better about the subject you were thinking about while you were working on it? Do you feel better about it? How did the process make you feel? Did you enjoy the process? I very much enjoy the process of neurographic art, and I hope you did too. Thanks for joining us, and have fun.